Hi, welcome. I'm Mike Segawa. I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs at Pitzer College, and I am here with President Melvin Oliver to discuss and share some of the things that have been going on at Pitzer, especially its impact on our faculty, staff, and students, and address many of the questions that you have been asking since this pandemic has started. So, with that, President Oliver, thank you for joining us and doing this.
Thank you, Mike. My pleasure.
So let's just start with, a little bit of a summary of where we are at Pitzer, what we have been doing here for our faculty, staff, and students, and how they're doing.
Well, we've been doing a lot since March. As you know, March was the period, mid-March was the period that we sent students home, and that was a period in which we did a lot for the safety and well-being of our whole campus community. So for students, we provided resources to help them get home, purchase tickets. We provided resources for them to purchase laptops and secure broadband so they could participate fully in our online programs. Gave back 50% of the money they spent for room and board. What's interesting about that is that also included the students who were in financial aid. We did not adjust for those students. And so that was about $600,000 that went into the pockets of students and families that were in need. And it was a very Pitzer thing to do, and it's something we're very proud of. And I think it was the right thing to do. Pitzer also compensated students for their work study and non-work study jobs, even though they weren't able to complete them. We also, and this I think is very important, students this summer who are on financial aid, we know they won't be able to secure their monies that were supposed to go toward their tuition and fees. And we are providing those resources for students because it's a difficult job market out there. For staff, we provided online support for them for their psychological well-being. For all of our staff, we made sure that they were able to work from home if possible. And we did not lay off any of our staff. Once again, a very Pitzer thing to do. Academically, we pushed back on some academic requirements and timelines so students could be able to handle that. We were able to provide independent study for those students who were in study abroad programs that dissolved so they wouldn't be behind. And another thing I'm very proud of is our faculty instituted a grading policy that took into consideration the fact that this semester we were online and that there would be some very inequitable types of consequences of that. And the grading policy recognized that. Individually, we've reached out to all of the students. So we've let them know we care about them, we're concerned about them, and making sure that they are doing well. For all of these things, it's been a tremendous cost to us. About $6 million we've spent. Luckily, Pitzer has been a very conscientious institution. We've developed reserves, and those reserves have served us well. But those reserves are now close to empty, and we are worried that we will not be prepared if we were to have a natural disaster or a disastrous decline in our enrollment. But we're looking forward. And looking forward, the phase 2 of what we're looking forward to is how can we get the campus open again? How can we bring back our students? How can we provide elements of that Pitzer experience that we are known for from around the world? Second, we want to make sure we take care of our faculty and staff, making sure that they're provided for and physically and mentally well. And we need to really work on what I call the troika of opening. That is testing, that is contact tracing, and that is isolation. We have to figure out how to do that. And we also have to figure out how to get the supply of PPEs so that our campus can be safe if we do open. So we have quite a list of things to do.
We absolutely do. And what you've just run through for us, President Oliver, is very reflective of Pitzer, whether it's about financial aid, as you described our decisions about that, or student employment, or the employment of our staff and faculty, or the grading policy, are very reflective of the Pitzer values. So thank you for sharing those with us. So it's also complicated work, and we're not doing it alone. It's not just 2 or 3 folks doing it. You wisely put together this task force, this coronavirus task force. Why don't you share a bit with our community about that task force and the work they have?
Well, the task force is so Pitzer. At Pitzer, we are about participation and inclusivity. And I put together a task force made up of faculty, staff, students from all around the college. And in the Pitzer way, I've had to increase the number of people on that task force because they want more inclusivity. But that task force is designed to be the kind of clearinghouse of information and to work on projects that help us come to better decisions. And I do believe that the more voices you have, the more perspectives you have from different positions in the institution, the better your decisions. So I think that's going to work out well for us.
And of course, most of us know that we're part of a consortium, so we're not a singular college, if you will. How is that dynamic going to work in terms of decision-making for Pitzer? Are we going to make our own decisions? Will this be in collaboration or some combination of those?
Well, Mike, we're very proud to be a part of the consortium of the Claremont colleges. Being a part of that consortium gives us a great deal of strength, but it also gives us a great deal of responsibility. We make decisions collectively that really help our students from cross-registration across the campuses to our health services, which we share. We are working closely with the consortium in a range of groups, from the President's Council to the Dean's Council to the Vice Presidents of Students Affairs. And we've created a number of committees around topics that relate to the opening in the fall. And those groups are reporting back to the presidents, and the presidents will use that information to make some of the crucial decisions that come back to Pitzer, and which Pitzer will use to fashion the unique Pitzer opening.
Well, you mentioned the fall. And so big question on everyone's mind is, will we bring students back to Pitzer in the fall?
Well, that's a complicated question with a complicated answer. But we will bring students back as soon as we know a number of crucial things. Number one, we have to know that we have approval from state, from local, public health agencies that it is safe to open. That is a requirement. We also need to know that we have the kind of health facilities available in our immediate area as to if there were a COVID-19 outbreak, that we would have the medical facilities to take care of those folks. Those are complicated things. They're out of our control, but we have to have those. In the meantime, we're essentially planning to do everything we can to open. That is our preference, but we cannot control what is out there in terms of the virus. The virus has its own way of doing things, and we have to respect that. Because the key to us is that we do believe that every student we have deserves the Pitzer experience. We want to provide that, but we have to be understanding that if things are too dangerous to open, we will not be able to open. But it's our preference to open. We do know we will be together sometime. We just don't know quite when.
You know, it strikes me that we're learning a new vocabulary in higher education. Words like testing, tracing, quarantining, PPEs they were not part of our vernacular prior to this semester. So I appreciate you sharing that response with our community. It is complicated, as you say.
It is.
So even with all that complication, do we have a sense of when Pitzer will make a decision about students returning to campus?
Mike, we continue to gather information. We are in a constant analysis and reanalysis of the situation. We consult frequently with experts in epidemiology and healthcare. And we will make a decision, but once again, we have to have all the information that we need to be confident that we can open in a safe and secure way. I think the most important thing that we have to do is to make sure that we have everything available on campus that's possible to secure a healthy and safe environment for our students. Having said that, I want to commit to families that there will be a decision in time for you to make the plans necessary for your son or daughter or the students to make plans to come to Pitzer. We are not going to just do it at the end. People will have enough time to make those decisions.
Thank you. That's wonderful to hear. And you've talked about, again, how complicated it is and all those things, and including that we're part of a very large state, a very large county, and they have their own public health orders and directives to us. So what if stay at home, safer at home restrictions are still in place for this area?
Well, Pitzer will abide by those orders if they are given. We realize that we owe a lot to our students, to our faculty, to our staff, to the community, and we do not want to jeopardize the health and safety of any of those constituencies. So we're going to comply if there's an order.
I mean, it's an important point. We're part of a wonderful community here in Claremont and the broader area. And so we want to be and need to be those good neighbors, if you will.
We want to be good neighbors.
Yeah. So shifting the questions a little bit, and that is more focused on our own employees, our faculty and staff. Certainly at the top of their heads is going to be the question, is Pitzer considering furloughs, cuts, layoffs?
Well, as you know, this is a time full of uncertainty. And that uncertainty also applies to this issue. I am not prepared to give a categorical yes or no at this time in terms of furloughs. We don't know what the conditions are and what the financial situation of the college will be come fall. But let me vow to all of our employees, furloughing anyone would be the last resort to deal with the economic consequences of the pandemic.
Of course, we have seen many examples of senior leadership at other places taking their own cuts and things like that. And the question is, from many members of our own community, will the Pitzer leadership do something similar?
Mike, I can emphatically say yes to that. The leadership of Pitzer College if we were to have any reductions in salary, would of course lead in reducing their and taking reductions in their salary. This is a basic tenet of our institution in that we're all in this together. It's not any one group, all of us. All of us succeed together, and when there are sacrifices, we sacrifice together.
Absolutely. One more financial question, and that is around tuition. Question is Pitzer considering discounting tuition, especially if we were in some kind of online remote learning environment?
We are evaluating ways to help students deal with tuition and fees in this uncertain economic time. Once again, it's a period of uncertainty. We do not know what that situation will be come fall, but we are modeling various scenarios that we will use to help students financially make it at Pitzer.
So just one final question, and it's actually very similar to how you answered the first question, and that is, are students going to be safe at Pitzer? And I would add to that faculty and staff and guests that come to our campus.
This is the key thing that we are concerned about, the health and safety of our community, our students, our faculty, our staff, and the local community. We are doing everything we can in terms of planning and preparations to open the campus in a safe and secure way. That means that if we do come to campus, it's going to be very different. It's not going to be the same as in the past. And I think students, parents have to realize that. And I'll give you a couple of examples. We're used to a wonderful, almost restaurant quality experience in the dining hall.
Yes.
Take takeout. That's a little different, okay? Our classrooms are going to be configured differently. They're going to be smaller. We are going to be wearing masks in public places, and we are going to be focusing on hygiene. It will be the constant drumbeat of take care of yourself, will also take care of everyone else. And it means that this is something that we can only be successful at if all of us work at it. So coming back to campus is not going to be just fun, but it's going to be a responsibility.
Thank you. Thank you very much, President Oliver, for sharing those thoughts. I think they're very helpful to our community to hear from you about that. And on some level be reassured, both with your responses, but also with the acknowledgement we're still in very murky times. And
yes,
there are in many respects, there's more questions than answers, and we acknowledge that, and we are working through that. So thank you for doing that. And thank you to all of you. Yeah. And thank you to all of you who have been watching this. We appreciate you being supportive of Pitzer and look forward to seeing many of you very soon. Thank you.